When someone mentions chocolate, just watch the smiles appear. This magical food, shared and enjoyed to celebrate our happiest occasions, has held a special place in our lives for more than 2,000 years. Even scientists refer to it as Theobroma cacao, the food of the gods. The story of chocolate is a unique adventure. It begins deep in the tropical forest, travels through the sacred rituals of the Aztecs and the intrigue of European royalty, and emerges into our modern popular culture. It's a journey filled with magic, mystery, and art. With its roots in the tropical rainforest, the cacao tree has been part of human culture for 2,000 years. The Mayans and Aztecs of Central America cultivated cacao trees long before the arrival of European explorers. It was the Mayans who first created a beverage from crushed cocoa beans, which was enjoyed by royalty and shared at sacred ceremonies. Later, the Aztecs called the prize drink they made from cocoa beans chocolatl, which means warm liquid. The Aztec Emperor Montezuma maintained huge storehouses filled with cocoa beans and consumed more than 50 cups of chocolatl from a golden goblet every day. Cocoa beans were so highly valued that the Aztecs even used them as currency. A rabbit cost 10 cocoa beans and a mule was worth 50. When the Spanish explorer Hernando Cortés arrived in Mexico in 1519, the Aztecs thought he was a god. Montezuma greeted the Spanish explorers with a large banquet, sharing with them cups of their bitter chocolate drink. Cortés later wrote to the King of Spain, "1 cup of this precious drink permits one to walk a whole day without taking nourishment." Intrigued by the Aztec drink, Cortés took it back to Spain and experimented with chocolatl, adding sugar to make it more agreeable to Spanish tastes. Served hot, this new version of the chocolate drink quickly found favor with the Spanish nobility. Spain planted cacao trees throughout its new colonies to ensure an ample supply of cocoa beans. They kept chocolate a closely guarded secret for almost 100 years. Fortunately, when the daughter of the King of Spain married Louis XIII and moved to France, she brought the recipe for chocolate with her. About the same time, Spanish monks traveling throughout Europe began to share the secrets of chocolate with their counterparts in France.
By the middle 1600s, people who could afford it could drink chocolate pretty much all over Europe. The English chocolate houses were very popular, very important social places where chocolate was consumed, and the beverage was believed to be a health-giving drink. The first chocolate factory in America opened in 1765. Up until the 1800s, chocolate was primarily a drink. Technological advances in the 1800s made it possible to make chocolate in solid form, and around this time, the Swiss added dried milk to chocolate to create milk chocolate. In the 1900s, mass production techniques made chocolate something that everybody could afford.
Today, the U.S. military includes chocolate in its rations, and chocolate has been taken into space as part of the diet of our astronauts. All chocolate begins with cocoa beans, the fruit of the cacao tree. The cacao tree is strictly a tropical plant, thriving only in hot, rainy climates. Cacao can only be cultivated within 20 degrees north or south of the equator. This delicate tree needs protection from direct sun and wind, and is usually planted under a canopy of taller trees, which provides the necessary shade. At maturity, the cultivated cacao tree stands 15 to 25 feet tall. Tiny pink or white flowers grow along the trunk and main branches of the tree. Of the thousands of flowers that grow on a single tree, less than 10% develop into mature fruit. These oval-shaped pods contain the seeds that will become cocoa beans. The pods grow directly from the trunk and major branches of the trees. At first, the pods are green or maroon in color. The pods ripen to a bright yellow gold or orange. Through sustainable growing techniques, small farmers cultivate cacao trees as part of a diverse agricultural environment, one that can support the farmer year after year, balancing economic needs with environmental preservation.
The real beauty of this is also the fact that the agroforest, the cocoa agroforest, actually benefits the small farmer in addition to providing an important habitat for all kinds of wildlife, whether it's native species of birds and mammals or whether it's migrating species, whatever.
Biodiversity is very important in this cocoa production system in many different ways. Biodiversity means more products for the farmer in terms of fruits and timber and construction material, something they can either use or they can put into the market and get more cash to their economies.
And by using what is known as machete technology, the farmers carefully prune their trees to keep them healthy and productive, reducing the need for harmful pesticides and fertilizers.
That's the beauty of where the needs, the economic needs of the small cocoa farmer intersects beautifully the needs for biological conservation.
Nearly all of the world's cocoa supply is grown on small farms. Less than 5% comes from large plantations where hundreds of trees are planted together. Such large-scale farming subjects the trees to full, intense sun. This stresses the cacao trees, making them susceptible to pests and disease while requiring costly fertilizers. The World Cocoa Foundation supports sustainable cocoa growing in its mission to improve the standard of living for cocoa farmers around the world. In West Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, the foundation teaches farmers efficient methods for producing quality cocoa in a sustainable, environmentally friendly manner. Already, this has resulted in a reduction in disease and pests, better cocoa bean yields, and higher incomes for small-scale farmers. On small family farms around the world, farmers harvest ripe cacao pods by hand, just as they've done for many generations. With a machete or a long pole knife, farmers cut each pod away from the tree. Experienced farmers carefully select the pods that are ready for harvesting. Pods ripen throughout the year since the growing season in the tropics is continuous. After harvesting, the pods are split open, and about 50 light yellow-colored seeds are scooped out, along with a sugary gelatin-like pulp, and placed in sturdy sacks or other containers. The gathered seeds and pulp are left to ferment for about 5 days. The seeds undergo biochemical changes during this time. Flavor develops, bitterness subsides, and the light yellow seeds turn a rich shade of brown. Once fermented, the cacao seeds become cocoa beans, and they begin to develop the familiar flavor and aroma of cocoa. Like any moisture-filled fruit, the beans must be dried to be preserved. Spread on racks or mats, the beans are turned frequently during this 5 to 7 day process. This can be done on the farm or at a processing plant. The dried beans, now called raw cocoa, are bagged, taken to market, and shipped to chocolate manufacturers worldwide. At the chocolate factory, cocoa beans are inspected and approved as part of a stringent quality control process. All incoming raw materials must be tested before they enter the manufacturing facility to make sure that only wholesome, high-quality ingredients are used to make chocolate. Quality control continues during production, where chocolate samples are carefully analyzed throughout the process. Once the beans pass inspection, they are cleaned and then blended to create just the right flavor. The cocoa beans are roasted in large rotating cylinders for anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. The carefully controlled heat turns the beans a deep brown color as they develop the characteristic aroma of chocolate. As soon as the roasted beans have cooled, a machine removes the shells, leaving only the inner part of the cocoa bean. These bits of cracked beans, called nibs, are now ready for processing. The nibs are conveyed to grinding mills where they are crushed between a series of heavy steel rollers or grinding stones. The friction and pressure liquefy the nibs and create a shiny brown liquid called chocolate liquor, although it has no alcoholic content. The factory can make eating chocolate or cocoa from the chocolate liquor. To make cocoa powder, the chocolate liquor is pumped into giant hydraulic presses that apply about 6,000 pounds per square inch to the liquor. This intense pressure forces out the cocoa butter, which is removed through filters. The cocoa butter will be used to make chocolate. The pressed cake that remains after the cocoa butter is removed can be cooled, pulverized, and sifted into cocoa powder. Cocoa is used to make chocolate milk, chocolate syrup, ice cream, cakes, and other chocolate products. The art of chocolate making requires carefully mixing a variety of ingredients into the chocolate liquor. Milk to make milk chocolate, sugar to sweeten the chocolate liquor, extra cocoa butter for richer flavor and smoother texture, and lecithin from soybeans to help the warm chocolate flow easily to form bars and other shapes. The chocolate mixture is then finely ground or refined by passing through a series of heavy rollers set one atop the other. Conching is a flavor development process that can last a few hours to several days, depending upon the desired outcome. Heavy rollers swirl continuously through the mixture, kneading the chocolate, developing the complex flavors, and making the chocolate velvety smooth. After conching, the mixture is tempered, a process of carefully cooling the mixture while constantly stirring it. Finally, the liquid chocolate is ready to be poured into molds or used to enrobe or cover candy centers such as nougat, creams, and nuts. The molded or enrobed chocolate products travel through a cooling chamber and then are ready for wrapping and shipment to distributors and retail stores across the country. Chocolate can be a part of any healthy, active lifestyle, and some of the latest research points to potential health benefits from certain types of cocoa powder and dark chocolate.
Chocolate is a complex plant food, and it's high in antioxidant compounds called flavonoids. And cocoa powder and dark chocolate are especially rich in these antioxidants. These antioxidants may have protective effects against certain diseases, including heart disease.
Over the years, scientists have erased many myths about chocolate. For instance, did you know that chocolate contains very little caffeine? A typical chocolate bar contains about the same amount of caffeine found in a decaffeinated cup of coffee. Does chocolate make children hyperactive? According to medical professionals, sweet foods do not cause hyperactivity. The likely cause of excitability is the excitement of the event at which sweet foods are eaten. What about chocolate and migraine headaches? Again, the research studies conducted on foods and migraines show chocolate is not a significant cause of migraines. Chocolate also is not a major cause of dental cavities. All foods that contain starch or sugar, including everything from cookies and pretzels to cereal and bread, have the potential to cause cavities. In fact, dental research shows that the naturally occurring vegetable fat in chocolate allows it to clear the teeth faster than other foods, making it less likely to stay in contact with the teeth and cause decay.
Chocolate's a fun food, and it certainly can fit into any healthy diet and lifestyle, eaten in moderation. There are no good foods nor bad foods. It's the overall diet that's important. Equally important is physical activity to help us burn the calories we consume and maintain a healthy weight.
From the pre-Columbian dawn to the age of exploration, and from the scientific laboratory to modern manufacturing, chocolate has fascinated everyone with a taste for enchantment. whatever the time, whatever the place, whatever the occasion. If it begins with chocolate, it ends with a smile.